Thanks for joining this podcast webinar that we have with the interview with Andreea Toma. She's a consultant with her website available called Door Hub, and we will post that in the chat and we'll post that in the video for you. I hope you enjoy. Andreea, welcome to this interview. Thank you very much for coming along. We're going to go through some questions on marketing, especially on marketing, on digital marketing, and by my experience with working with you, which is absolutely fantastic help. I think that some of the viewers would like to see an insight of why we need a digital marketing. So I've got some questions here for you. And first of all, I'd like to ask you, what does a digital marketing consultant do? What do you do?
So a lot of things. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, Jay. It's been a pleasure working with you for Glluz, but it's an honor to be here as well. So what does a digital marketing consultant do? Basically, they help businesses or try to help businesses reach their goals and make smarter marketing decisions based on data, not guesswork. So in practice, that means evaluating where the businesses are, what are their business goals, spotting missed opportunities, as well as building strategies that align with those goals, whether that's user acquisition, lead generation, or driving conversions. So I would say a digital marketing consultant is part strategist, part advisor, and part translator between the business needs and the marketing execution.
Okay, so why is digital marketing so important today? Why do people, or why do entrepreneurs, small businesses in the digital field, why do you think that it's so important today?
Because all of us are online, right? And that means their target audience, their ideal customers are online, and this is where they can reach them. So audiences are across multiple platforms, right? You name it. And the attention for people is mainly digital nowadays. So whether it's search, social, or short-term video, people do engage with brands online even before they first ever convert. So it's extremely important to be present there, but to have a clear, visible, thoughtful presence to be able to stand out from your competitors.
So it's important to have a plan of some sort?
It is extremely important, yes, to have a plan as a business. And I think that's where the consultant comes into place to kind of help you align especially your digital marketing strategy and how you can be present online in line with your goals. Because I think it's extremely easy to be busy online, right? To use various platforms to post a lot of content. But if it's not done strategically, it can be a waste of time and just generally speaking resources, which I think, especially for a small business or a business that's just starting, can be quite significant.
And what mistakes do entrepreneurs and businesses make when they are doing this themselves? What easy mistakes do they do? For example, in my case, I started off with socials. So socials was something that majority of people are doing, whether it's business or whether it's personal.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can reach out to people to try and get them active within your business. But what other mistakes do you see people making, or entrepreneurs making, or even businesses making?
I think, first of all, just starting doing something on random platforms, posting content without, and even maybe running paid advertising without actually having a proper strategy and without measuring the exact impact that type of activity is bringing to their business. So what I'm referring to is that when you choose a platform to advertise on or to post content on, to basically try to reach and engage with your audience, it's very important to understand first, okay, what are my business goals? What do I want to achieve with my business? Is it to drive awareness of my brand if I'm a new business? Is it to bring new customers, or is it to, increase customer retention? And then I think one of the most vital things is to understand, where is my target audience, right? On which platforms? I think if you think about it, for let's say if you're an online shop and your audience is mainly browsing Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, then this is where you should be present as well, whether organically or via paid ads. Whereas if you're a B2B, then most likely your audience, or it's better to target your audience on a platform like LinkedIn. So these are just some examples. There are lots of platforms and lots of opportunities to put yourself out there as a business in terms of platforms. However, not everything is right for everyone. So you need to be very strategic and start with the basics, which are identify your business goals, identify your target audience and where they are, and after that, prepare a strategy for your digital marketing presence as well.
Okay, so as an entrepreneur and on my journey, when do you think that a business or an entrepreneur needs to hire a consultant? What is it, at the beginning, straight away? So if you're looking at your business plan and you're looking at your journey towards when you need to have a digital marketer, do you think we need that from the start, or is it worth doing something interim period by yourself? Where do you think that businesses should be able to hire somebody?
I think it depends a lot what they want to achieve on short term and long term. I think it could be very valuable to have to work with a digital marketing consultant very early on, once your business plan is set up, right? Once your business is up and running and you want to start increasing your brand awareness because you just started, not a lot of people know you, or you just want to bring a lot of customers right away, or you want to generate a lot of app installs on short term, right? This is a good opportunity to already start working with a digital marketing consultant. However, let's say you've been running all the digital strategy for your business by yourself, or you have an in-house team, but you feel like your conversions are stalling a bit. You're not bringing as many sales as you want to, according to your, maybe long-term goals, or maybe your brand awareness is not quite where you want it to be. So this is also, and maybe you're already like a very mature brand, right? But this is also a good opportunity to start working with a digital marketing consultant, because they can bring like a fresh energy and a fresh pair of eyes, basically, to your business, and can help you identify opportunities, even if you have an in-house, marketing team that is doing everything for you.
Okay. And how do consultants work with different types of businesses? As you could probably imagine, lots of different types of businesses arise. Does the digital marketing, is there like a one face fits all, or do you tailor towards different types of businesses? How does that work?
I think it should always be tailored, especially if you are a strategic consultant. I think there are instances where you can act as a strategic partner and be there with the business from the beginning. So help them create a proper complex strategy for their short-term and long-term goals. However, let's say the example I mentioned earlier, a brand has their in-house team, or they're doing their marketing themselves, but they just need to, take their business up a notch when it comes to marketing. That's when a digital marketing consultant can come in as an advisor and can bring some fresh ideas, can dig deeper into what's already been done and what can be improved, and just, maybe identify some missed opportunities. So I think there are different situations when a digital marketing consultant can come into play.
Excellent.
Glluz, where the game begins with you.
So my next section, Andreea, is about value and return on investment. So what return on investment can a business expect when they're looking at finding a marketing person?
Again, it depends on their goals. So we can look at all types of metrics like conversion rates, right? So ROI, it could be cost per acquisition if they want to acquire new customers. It could be long-term revenue, maybe lifetime value for their customers. So it all depends again on, it goes up to the business goals, and based on that, the strategy and then the activity that will run based on that will should generate the metrics that are the most important for that goal.
For those of you who haven't subscribed, can I ask that you please subscribe to the channel? We're looking at having some more content for you in the future, and hopefully that you will join us. And how can that success actually be measured?
There are different KPIs. So let's take your example, right? For Glluz, you wanted to focus more on generating more installs for the app. That was the short-term goal, right? So in this case, the activity that we started running was focused on driving app installs. So in that case, that was the metric that we were looking at. However, again, success, the definition of success can differ from brand to brand. If you just want to bring new customers, then cost per acquisition or cost per new customer would be your measure, basically. But I think that's the beauty of digital marketing, because you can see a clear impact in the metrics that are right for your business right away, many times in real time, which I think is very important.
And what are the tools that you use when you're looking at all the analytics and all the data? What type of tools do you use?
There are loads that are available. I think it depends a lot on what the business also has available and their capabilities in terms of, like, technically speaking as well. I think as a platform, Google Analytics is perhaps the most popular and most complex one, because it allows you to see in one place the results from your paid and organic activity, more or less. But also there are other platforms. And I think especially personally, I prefer to look at each individual platform. So you have Instagram, Facebook, and others to see, let's say, more granular metrics. But I think if you want to have a quick overview of all your platforms in one place, then Google Analytics is probably the best option to use.
So as far as the analytics are concerned, can you see all the social platforms? Is it possible to have it all so you can see all the analytics?
You can potentially link your all the other platforms or their ads manager to your analytics. That's work that can be done by a developer, but yes, you can definitely link your activity because it's vital. And just think of very complex big brands with a super advanced strategy, maybe that are spending millions of pounds on advertising. I think most of them either use internal data, but also rely a lot on Google Analytics just to see which platform, which type of activity actually generated the best return for them.
Okay. And can you give me an example of what are your successes?
Oh, I can give Glluz as an example.
Okay.
I consider it as a success already. So obviously your goal was to grow your app user base, right? So you were focusing on app installs. However, we also looked a bit deeper into your long-term goals to understand what could a strategy look like. So given that, we built together a full funnel strategy, and then we started launching various types of campaigns for paid ads, but we also started looking into how we can drive more engagement organically. We've been working on setting up all the tracking and everything that's needed, which is extremely important. The basics are vital when it comes to marketing. And now we're waiting for the results to kick in, and I think it's already looking pretty well. So, and we're getting closer to our goal. So this is a success story, I would say, on like how we started working. And I think this is the most important part of being a consultant, which is the collaboration with the brand, with the business. Because it's not just the consultant going there, looking at some data and just providing some general recommendations, but rather it's a discussion, understanding, very deeply what is the business trying to achieve, what are their pain points, and then deep diving into, competition and seeing, okay, what platform is the best for them, and just what would be the best strategy. And then honestly, and of course, obviously not just once the strategy is in place, let it run, but rather still, have an ongoing relationship and tweak, over time, the strategy as well to get even closer to your goals.
And how do consultants choose the right channels? Is there a pattern you do? Do you have a formula?
I do a lot of, this is what I was referring to a bit earlier. I'm trying to understand the business very well and what are their goals. And besides understanding the goals, I'm also trying to understand very well what is the right audience, what is the most successful audience for the business, but also what the business owner is trying to go after. Because it could be different markets, it could be different ages, or categories of people. So once I understand that very well, I would also try to look into what are the main competitors, what are they doing, where are they most successful, right? Especially if that brand I'm working with is just starting. And once I have all this information, all this context about the business, this is when I'm using my expertise and trying to see, okay, I think platforms XYZ would be best for this brand for now. Let's start the strategy with this in mind. Again, I know potentially like the other, platforms that are not going to work at all for this type of business. If it's B2C, for example, maybe LinkedIn, I'm just giving it as an example, is not the right approach, right? But if it's a B2B, then perhaps this is the better one. So it always comes from listening and understanding very well what the business needs.
And why is staying up to date so important? So we talked about different types of trends that are happening, or trends even in social media, we're talking about trends. Marketing is expanding and it's probably pushing a lot of boundaries. How important is it to stay up to date with this?
Extremely important, especially nowadays. Maybe 5-10 years ago, it was not as vital, but I think now it's even more important. Why? Because there's so many platforms. We have AI coming into place as well. And especially when it comes to digital marketing, I think every other week you will see a new update, either within the industry, either new features released by various platforms. So I think as a consultant especially, being on top of all these updates, always knowing what's happening is extremely important, because it can actually make a very big difference for the clients that you're working with. I'm going to give you 2 examples, a bad one and a good one. So not so good one, let's say, is Apple's privacy changes. They've been implementing very strict changes in terms of tracking customer data for iOS users since I think 2019, 2020. And that impacted the industry significantly because it limited advertisers across all the platforms. It limited their capacity to target users on iOS. And you can imagine that impacted in quite a negative way some businesses. So they had to adapt very quickly to change their strategy. So obviously it was very important to know that update was happening. But on the good side, there could be some new updates. There could be some new features released by some platforms that are very relevant for a brand. And, maybe there was a really big pain point for the business, and that feature can actually help us unlock it. So that's a good case when it's important to know what's happening in the business.
Hopefully we'll have another chat.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
Create your profile, create an event, join the community hub, choose your sport, and let Glluz match you with the perfect sport buddy.